Hey everyone, welcome to episode 6 of Master Race Debaters. It is our Oscar episode. We are celebrating the worst of the worst. This week we welcome guest Daniel Grant from the podcast Spoiled Rotten from On That Shelf. He's great. We talk about the Black Panther nod. Also on the show, we do a review of 3 billboards out of Ebbing, Missouri, last year's Oscar winner. And we wrap up the whole thing with Liam Neeson's I Just Want to Kill Black People comments. Well, he didn't say I just want to kill black people, but, you know, he was going to go out and kill black people. And he said at a press junket. It's going to be amazing. All right, let's get into it. So this is our Fuck the Oscar episode. So we're doing 3 segments, and it's all Fuck the Oscars. The segment after this one, we talked about, I guess it was, they won Best Actress and Best Supporting Actor last year. 3 billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri, which, you know, I won't spoil it, but you listen to it. you get the idea. Anyways.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah, it's so we're talking about this is going to air the day after the Oscars, and we're talking about Black Panther being nominated. I mean, how do you guys feel about that?
I'm happy about it for obvious reasons. It hits 2 things for me. There's the fact that the podcast I do deals mainly in comic book movies, and obviously I'm happy to see a movie with predominantly black people where we're not suffering or, you know, playing slaves or anything, and we actually get to be superheroes and spies. I'm happy to see that get actually nominated for something, and Best Picture is that one thing, so that's cool for me. But some people don't like that.
I haven't heard the backlash on it yet. Maybe because I'm in a bubble and I don't like, you know.
Oh yeah, the backlash. I never really get further than no. I love the movie, love it. It's great. It's great. I love it. It's important. I understand that. I just don't think it should have been nominated.
The Oscars are this like amazing fucking thing.
Yeah, so it's this awkward thing where, in my experience, it's only white people, and they, and I'm not saying every white person I know says this. I'm saying the people who have said it to my face or in comments have been white people who say they like it, but they don't think it should be nominated. I haven't seen anyone be brave enough to be like, I don't like it, and it shouldn't have been nominated. I would understand more.
I think it's
that I would understand.
Sorry, I think it's fair if you don't like it.
Yeah, right. If you didn't like it, then sure, don't nominate it.
To each his own, yeah.
But I think that's just the weird thing where they try to say they like it. So I'm like, do you like it, or like, what's the deal here?
But it's not that good. It's not that good. And then they change the subject to Serena Williams and why she shouldn't win.
Yes. There's a whole, but they have a list of black people who shouldn't win or do certain things.
You know why this shouldn't happen. Do they ever demand you to answer why, like to defend why you like it? I've had white dudes do that to me.
You know what? I think if it's in person, they kind of just sheepishly go like, it's fine. And then I'm always willing to, and I've had time because it came out last February, right? So I've had time to build up why I think it is deserving of a best film nomination. But it comes down to, and I said this on my other podcast, that where the writer, he used to have his own show. Maybe he still does. His name's Larry Wilmore.
Yes.
He wrote for like the first couple seasons of The Office, first couple seasons of the Bernie Mac show, and he talked about when you are writing a TV show. I know it's TV, not movie, but when you're writing a TV show, what helps is that if you've got a thesis statement and you stick to it. So for Bernie Mac show, he gave the example. Their thesis for the first 2 seasons, the seasons he worked there, was kids are terrorists and we don't negotiate with terrorists. And that helped them cut the fat out of any scene, that helped them cut the fat from anything and create a tight show. And I thought that's good because it creates a specificity that then becomes universal. It's no longer about this black guy Bernie Mac who takes his sister's kids in, but everyone knows like, oh yeah, I hate when kids do that, and everyone can start to join in, right? And so for me, what Black Panther did was, I think there's a bunch of thesis statements there, but the big one is it's that thing that Shuri says to him when they first meet up, which is just because something works doesn't mean it can't be improved.
Yeah.
And so this whole movie is T'Challa being like, oh shit, like what do I do? We've got this system, but should I improve it? Should I keep it? And every interaction he has, if it's Killmonger, if it's Nakia, if it's Okoye, everyone has their take on what should happen.
Yes.
And at the end of the movie, it's T'Challa taking all that information and making his own decision on what that change should look like. And I think that stops it from being just, oh, you just like it because it's a bunch of black people. It starts, you get to, other people can start putting their inferences and everything they want to do, and they can add their stuff onto that one statement of just because it works doesn't mean it can't be improved. And I think it makes it a strong film that way, but that you can have that kind of tight thesis statement and that everything plays into that.
But do people have like a counter argument to that when they say it shouldn't be?
No. I've never heard a counter argument, and I'm open to it. They might say something that makes me be like, you know what? Yeah, I guess it is a dumb movie. I don't know, but no one has been able to do that, and I think that comes from people dismissing it as a black person. I just love it because it was a bunch of black people.
Are they also dismissing it because it's a comic book movie?
Yeah, I think there's an element, but most of the comment sections I'm in are for people who love comic book movies.
Okay, yeah. Oh,
so,
yeah, they're the most fair and balanced, non-conservative type people.
Yeah, so there's that issue as well, where I even saw someone slip up. I don't know if they were trying to be funny, but they legitimately said the only character I liked was the FBI agent guy.
And how could you?
Wow.
And I was like,
he did nothing.
I was like, so you mean you only like the white guy? I get it.
He was a bad Ghostbuster. He didn't do nothing.
Exactly.
I remember. I mean, Black. I love that movie. I also, I would argue also that, and maybe this is kind of controversial, I would see Thor Ragnarok get nominated too. I thought that was
loved that
very
movie.
good movie. I thought it was well done. I like it had the same kind of thing you were talking about, the POV of colonialism in that movie and imperialism in that movie, and I thought that to me that was a good movie too. But yeah, I agree with Black Panther, and then there was a lot of things in that movie where you're just like, what the fuck, like little things like when she when she took off her wig and she's like, I can't. It was just like
yeah.
Or like, sorry, yeah. What were you saying?
No, were you saying something, B?
No. You said you took off the wig.
Yeah.
No, I love the Daniel touched on the line of just because it worked, doesn't mean it can't be improved on. That plot twist. What he mean for me? One of my strongest scene is that when he's interacting with the ancestors, especially the performance by what's his name, who plays T'Challa, Chadwick Boseman. You know what I mean? All of you were wrong. Oh, come on, man. When he's trying to explain to them like, yo, you guys fucked us over, man.
Yeah.
I gotta clean this shit now. You know what I mean? I kind of wish white people had that kind of conversation with their ancestors, but that's a different conversation.
It's kind of like talking to white people in that. I mean, everyone, but it's kind of
think
like,
so?
Well, I mean, if you look at it, like the Black Panther, the Wakanda was relying on tradition and not letting people in to the country, which is kind of like it's nationalism. It's what we're seeing with Trump and stuff. So you're seeing in that scene where it's like you were wrong is like that's kind of like tearing down statues like the Sir John A. Macdonald. It's like we don't have to rely. We don't have to hold on to the past in order to maintain the future, right? Because the past could be wrong. It's flawed. Right? And so I don't know. I think that's a universal. That's what I like about Thor Ragnarok as well. Like the idea of like them like they whitewashed the what's the Asgard to seem like it was this like benevolent thing, but she was like, no, we got all these stuff. Built on blood.
Shit. Hela was amazing in that movie. I really like it. That was such a great character.
And it's not a coincidence that they're both directed by people of color, right? That's not a coincidence.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's a direct
Or Ragnarok.
Yeah.
What? Hold on a second. I'm late to the party. Thor
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok was directed by.
Yeah, he's Aboriginal. What's his name? Sorry.
Taika Waititi.
Yeah, he's an Aboriginal director. He's got some great movies. He did the
wow.
and,
Okay.
Yeah, he's
What We Do in the Shadows?
yes. What's the one where it's about the tribes that were like the young ones?
Oh, Hunt for the Wilder People?
Yeah.
No.
No, the
Was
one where
that
they're
Hunt for
getting
the
into
Wilder?
gangs and stuff like that, and it's just like. Anyway, sorry. Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone told me that the two storylines of Thor, there goes my English second language here, Ragnarok. The storyline is very similar to the one of the Black Panther.
Well, I mean, they both deal with like colonialism or imperialism.
Bang.
So I mean, it's not exactly the same. It's similar.
Not exactly. Yeah, a lot of
I
similarities.
think so.
Yeah. Yeah. At first, okay, let me put it this way. I didn't. Black Panther, I looked at it with a microscope lens, and Thor Ragnarok, I just liked it for Tessie Thompson. You know what I mean?
Well, you
If
got
you out there, I'm single.
you look through it through that critical eye, like a diamond. Is Black Panther like your typical Oscar movie?
No,
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think this is. I think there's a pushback for obvious reasons. The story there, but I think even if you were to think about things like Schindler's List, I don't even know if that won an Oscar. I'm assuming it did win Best Picture, but
Yes.
usually movies like these are about people struggling
Yeah.
and oppression. So it doesn't just have to be black people who are oppressed. It could be Jewish people.
Yeah.
It could be a gay couple. It's usually that's what gets rewarded, and so. I don't know how many people are pushing back that this is more of a celebration than a struggle, but it's not the typical thing, and I think that's the idea is that it is breaking down a barrier. Like last year, I think the Wolverine movie got nominated for Best Script,
And that's a great
which is a
movie.
big deal.
That was a
Yeah,
great
so that's a
movie.
big deal.
Yeah.
Which one, Wolverine or Logan?
Logan, yeah.
Logan?
I remember when Selma didn't get nominated. I really
What?
Yeah, they just completely forgot about it.
I really enjoyed that movie, but I believe it didn't get nominated because there was no white savior in it. No white person in that movie
Yes.
looked good. And same kind of here with Black Panther. There's no white person leading this story, right? So
Yep.
No, and in fact, the guy Martin Freeman who plays Everett Ross, I think he's a reminder of how condescending white people can be. Like that moment when they're trying to interview or sorry, I'm losing my words here, but they're trying to interrogate Claw.
yeah,
And he's going like, look, I'll go in and then you can talk, and he hits him on the shoulder like, hey, so there you go, little boy, like whatever, and like they just are completely in control of the situation and do not need him at all. And in fact, they're playing him by being like, whatever, man, let him
Claude
talk.
knows
What's he
how
gonna do?
much
Yeah,
even Claude knows how much they don't need him. So
exactly.
So like, the last black movie that I can think of, correct me if I'm wrong, was Moonlight. That one.
Yeah,
And my
this has got to be the only black movie that won, right?
Here's my theory.
In terms of Best Picture.
Here's my theory on Moonlight. Moonlight is more a gay movie than it is a black movie, which is nothing wrong with that. That's still good. Well, because here's my thing is that white people can stand for that movie to get nominated. Every time, like when we were watching Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, I was telling B, I see Clint Eastwood voting. That's all I see is like that's the person, and just this old man, old white dude.
Yep.
So Moonlight is one of those things where I think they felt progressive, but it puts the movie, and I don't think I think it's I was lukewarm with it. I didn't hate it. It was fine, but what it does is it puts it's kind of wagging the finger at the black community for toxic masculinity, and
Yes.
which I do think it's right, but it's for white people to do that. That's what I feel that movie did for white people to go. You guys need to clean.
Well,
up
I
your
guess
shit.
I guess it's weird only because I don't think you're wrong, but I think that's probably why people would vote for it. But I think there's the one moment that made me be like, oh, I legitimately like this movie was when Mahershala Ali reacts to the kid saying, "What does faggot mean?"
Yeah.
And he didn't like, I was like, oh, this is where he's gonna be like, whoa, yeah, that's not, but he legitimately was like, that's an ugly word people use to hurt people.
Yes.
You can be gay, but you don't have to be a faggot. Like, you don't have to let anyone decide that for you. And I thought that was interesting. And then I learned, like, obviously the guy who wrote the play that this is based on is gay, so I'm sure there was some kind of life experience there. And then the director, I don't want to speak out of turn. I'm assuming he's also gay, or no, it's a lot of gay people. So I think there's more of those black men's story in there, or how they feel about the toxic masculinity from the black community.
I 100% for that story. My problem is not the story. It's not the movie. It's Oscars.
Oh, like okay. So it's the seller. It was the how people rallied around
right,
it
like
more
where
than the actual
Selma
story.
or X doesn't get nominated, or when Selma doesn't even get nominated, and this movie wins. And I'm not saying it didn't deserve to win. What I'm saying is it hits boxes where white people. It's a black movie where white people aren't the problem, and they can point at the black community and say, "See,
Yeah." Well, I mean, it.
Hey,
Which is,
It's
I'm not
safe
saying
for
it
them
isn't
to,
a
like-
problem in the black community. I'm just saying, do you know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, I definitely catch it. It's not something I thought about until you just said it, but I see because I'm also thinking about a movie like Green Book, which
Oh yeah,
I think you guys have talked about where it's like it makes white people feel like
Yeah.
comfortable and safe and be like, hey, look good, there you go.
Yeah,
We did a good job.
based on their history of what they nominate, and like they nominated Denzel Washington. Well, he won for Training Day, and what they based on how they do this stuff, or Hattie McDaniel for playing a maid in Gone with the Wind. And I'm not trying to knock any of these performances or anything. All I'm saying is based on their history. When I look at Moonlight, I'm like, it kind of I have to judge it from that lens of. This is not white people. White people can pull themselves out of it. Go, we nominated. A black movie won, but you black people need to clean up your shit. You are toxic, and it's like, well, you're just as toxic as us.
Right. We might be racist, but you guys are intolerant.
We're all sharing this toxic masculinity. This is across the board.
No, I agree. 100%. No, that is. I think I wrote an essay about. Specifically Morgan Freeman and Denzel Washington's wins of I'm pretty sure he won for Glory, so like a slave and winning, or did Danny Aiello win that year? I don't remember now, but the point is his big things that you remember that him getting on for, obviously Training Day, which I still love that performance, but yes, he's playing a crooked cop, and Morgan Freeman I'm pretty sure for Driving Miss Daisy, and so like there's definitely a style of performance they like to reward.
Yes.
Octavia Spencer.
I was just gonna say that the Help.
Yeah. Which makes it so much more awkward that she produced Green Book. So but I mean, I guess I don't want to dump on Octavia Spencer.
I understand why she did it. I mean, it's gonna get it got an Oscar nod. No.
Yeah.
That movie's clearly.
So I mean, if it wins, she'll get an Oscar for that.
That's
I guess.
Totally an Oscar nod movie. Like that's like, the Mr. Church. We reviewed that, and I'm like, that's an Oscar nod movie. I mean, it wasn't good enough for it, but it's got all the elements to be an Oscar nod movie.
Yes, definitely.
It makes white people feel better about racism.
Yes, that was my takeaway from Green Book for sure, and movies like that. But this year, when I saw that it was constantly being pushed for best film, I was like, oh, I know why.
A few years ago, what's that movie? Mad Max Fury Road won, right? Best Picture.
What?
It didn't win, but I thought it should have.
And I was watching a review on YouTube. I forget the name of the person, but it was so great. And they were talking about how there's no tropes in Mad Max Fury Road. They could be wrong, but based on how they broke it down, it was pretty interesting.
Off the top of my head, I can't think of any real tropes. Like it was a pretty crazy, like out there movie.
Could you see the same thing with Black Panther? Is there tropes in this?
In Black Panther?
The only thing I heard, and it was something I'd never heard of before. Like, I mean, I guess I've seen it before. I just didn't know there was a name for it. The surprise kiss. Okay. So there's an element of he kisses her and then goes, "What? I could have died," but there was no real communication of like, "Am I allowed to kiss you?" And so that's a thing apparently. I mean, I know in real life it probably would piss people off, but I thought that was okay in movies. But apparently it's not.
Which kiss are we talking about?
The surprise kiss. It's when I think it's at the end of the movie. It basically in any movie where like the man kisses the woman, just grabs her, and takes her and kisses
Skywalker
her.
does when they swing across in Star Wars.
Oh, gotcha. Okay,
Or you know when you go in a club and there's a whole bunch of girls dancing and one dude tries to grind his boner up on her butt.
Yes.
Surprise grind.
Yeah, the surprise dance.
And because he's the man, he gets away with it. Gotcha.
Okay, so we're all in agreement that we're pretty sure last night Black Panther didn't win.
Oh yeah, no, I can't see that happening.
But then
At the Grammys?
no. At
The Oscars.
Dude, this is airing on the 25th.
Whoa, wake up, B. Sorry, okay, I'm with you, fellas. Okay, I'm sorry.
It's his PTSD.
Okay,
Yeah,
I was trying to fit it. Okay, I kept forgetting when you guys were talking about Moonlight. I'm getting back to Black Panther, but when you talking about Moonlight, I was feeling guilty about the fact that I haven't seen the movie. But you just said that it's more a gay movie than a black movie. So I might not lose my black card.
I think it's
I might
both.
not lose my black card, but I'll lose my tolerance card. Is that what you're saying?
No, I think it's both. I really think it's a black movie. But what I should have said, and I think it's I have this convoluted way of saying what I think. I think what I meant is that in the view of the Oscars, like the way they nominate movies, I think it's a gay movie before it's a black movie.
Like,
Gotcha,
to them, it was more Brokeback Mountain
Right,
than like.
and I
a black Brokeback Mountain.
If Moonlight was like won an award in like a black or something else that had a history of nominating, black movies and stuff, I think it would just be a good movie as opposed to a black or a gay movie. Do you know what I mean? Whereas in the Oscars, it is so you can't get away from that because they don't do that.
All right. Okay. Let me ask you guys. Let me ask you a question. Bear with me. All right. If Wakanda was real, and we had an Oscar in Wakanda with Black Panther, with
the movie Black Panther,
or they'd be like, "This is bullshit. This is weak. This has been done too many times." No. I guess I'm saying if it was a bunch.
If Wakanda was real and the movie Black Panther was nominated at like the Wakanda Oscars, is what you're asking.
Exactly.
That would be like fucking, that'd be like what's her name, the Nazi director that used to do the propaganda films. It'd be like a Nazi propaganda film. They're just hyping up the
right. For real, eh? How we changed and became better people, right? Okay.
How great we are.
Yeah, I wonder if I feel like Spider-Man into Spider-Verse would win, and then people would be like, "This was an upset. This is terrible."
That's also nominated, right, for best animated?
Yeah, best animated film. I think I actually liked it better than Black Panther.
I did too.
What?
I did too. I'm with you on that. I enjoyed it more.
Yeah.
And
I'm behind. Okay. All right,
No,
we're gonna have to have a part
amazing.
2.
Don't get me wrong.
Spider-Verse is great.
Yeah.
No, I've heard that.
Great
Okay.
movie.
Okay, we're gonna have to have a part 2 because I haven't seen Spider-Verse either. So.
Well, Spider-Verse is the animated one. It's based on Miles Morales.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to see it, because I just started reading like Miles Morales stuff, because I was like, I always say I want a black Spider-Man, and I didn't read any of the comics, so I was reading them going into this, and so I was happy to see like what they took from the comics, and also just there was especially his relationship with his dad.
Yeah,
I thought that really worked for me, and it also had a bunch of different characters, and I love team up
same with
movies.
his uncle. Like that was a great relationship too. Like they did. There were so different sides to this story, and again, not a lot of tropes in it either, from what I can think. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm no expert, but yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything like. Yeah, they didn't try and push like a love story, really.
No.
I mean, they hint at it, but like it really was just like what I like from the comics, like what makes him different from Peter Parker and everything.
And the Peter Parker interpretation in that movie was like so like meta and so good. Like the idea that he's like frozen in time, that he's got arrested development, like he can't keep a relationship, and I think that's what they're always trying to do, is figure out how can we keep Peter Parker young in all the comics. Like they killed off they separated his girlfriend, all this stuff. Right. I mean, ended his wedding so they can keep him young, and it's just like that was a great. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, it was a really good movie.
Yeah, sorry, B. Yeah.
No, when before you guys saw the movie, had you read the comics?
Yeah, I read a bit of them. I didn't read. I didn't follow it completely through, but I did read a bit of them. I read the first few of them.
Okay. You mean like Black Panther?
No,
the Black Panther
I
comics.
Yeah, Spider-Man.
Sorry.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I tried reading the Black Panther comics. It didn't like I tried the Ta-Nehisi Coates run. So I think I've read he's got 2 collections.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm like, this is good, I guess. I didn't stick with it, but I also don't think it's bad. I just was like, this is. I'm really more of a Batman fan, so I was just like,
Ta-Nehisi's good at writing books. His comics weren't that great.
Are we allowed to talk bad about Ta-Nehisi Coates during Black History Month? Just making sure. No, what the rules book said about that shit.
You just reminded me.
What does the book say about that? Oh, sorry, keep going.
No, it wasn't a bad comic book. It just I find myself getting lost in it sometimes, and just it's got he has a lot of exposition, a lot of stuff where the you have the medium of comic. You know who's great at writing comic is this is Alan Moore. Watchmen is the perfect way to write comics. It's just nice. He uses the medium so perfectly. And that's why the movies can't work, because it only works in comics.
No, I agree. I went to see Watchmen with my dad, and he's like, "What the fuck was that? I don't know what's going on." I was like, "Yeah, I guess you really have to know the comic book for that movie to work at all."
Yeah, there's so much he's in the comic book, he's making commentary by using a comic book about a scene that's happening right in front of you, and it's just there's a lot of that where it's they're talking about one thing, but it's the subtext of another scene. And it's it only happens, it's genius the way he uses the medium. He's good at that medium. Where Ta-Nehisi's books are amazing. I love them. But it just wasn't the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, B, we're nerding out on you.
No, it's all good. I didn't read the comics, but I did see that Netflix miniseries that was on that was on Netflix. I don't know if you guys saw it, little cartoon.
Oh, with Reginald Hudlin made that used to be on BET.
And Jaimon Hansu was the Black Panther.
Yeah.
Oh, for real? Yeah. I'll be damned. Okay. Yeah, no, I just loaded up on the IMDb. Yeah. Anyway, so that's what I saw, and I remember being worried before going in how they were going to treat this modern day superhero. And the history of slavery. I thought they were going to do some white people shit and ignore slavery and say, okay, just pretend this this hero happened, but there was no slavery. I thought they were going to ignore it, because that's what white people usually do. Because you bring in slavery, that's just too depressing, too complicated to explain. And how are you going to fight the good person and the bad person? Because shit like that. So I love the fact that as soon as I came in, that's the first thing they addressed. Hey, we're from Wakanda, and we kept to ourselves.
I think when I think it was created by Stan Lee, and I think it was kind of what you were describing first, or what you were worried about, and then writers have changed it. Black writers came in and changed it.
Well, also he tried to draw Black Panther without a mask.
Yes,
and the printers would be like, nope, no black superheroes. That's why he has the black mask on, because that was Stan Lee trying to have he wanted you to see that he was black. So then he started doing things like having his shirt ripped so you can see there's black skin under there.
What nice.
He was.
Rest in peace, Stanley. Rest in peace.
Yeah, and there was a lot of complicated, 8-Man, even
Yeah, I was so happy they didn't call him 8-Man or Man-Ape.
Yeah, and then and there was what's his name, Killmonger, who they made amazing in this movie.
Yes,
yeah, that was a great performance. Which I feel like for some reason I have a very controversial take on that. But
tell us.
Bring it on, man. That's what this podcast for.
I think I saw a lot of people writing, how dare Disney make Killmonger the villain of this movie? He's the only one that wants freedom. And I was like, no, he doesn't. He doesn't want freedom. He's very good at tricky. It's everything that Martin Freeman said. He knows how to get in there and affect the people so they turn on each other, and then he creates destruction. And he's bad because he's the only person from Wakanda that isn't a bad guy that kills women or hits women in that movie. Yeah. That movie goes to great lengths to show great respect to the women of Wakanda. Yeah. He chokes out a woman. He shoots a woman. He also flat out burns everything. If he wanted everyone to be equal, he would be like, oh yeah, let's disperse this to everyone so that all our black people can rise up and kill the white people. But he doesn't do that because he said, I will kill anyone who even thinks of joining you just so I can kill you too.
Bro, yeah, that's like a lot of African leaders. I'm empowered to life. Fuck that shit. Fuck
right.
you and your election.
Oh, that's a great. Well, I think people look at it like the way they take the Joker in Dark Knight. Returns. It's like, oh no, he's a real hero. Nah, man, he's not the real hero.
No, he's not the hero.
Right. The other thing, what I like about the movie is how it had me thinking about something that we as black people, and by black people I mean who went through the Middle Passage, the descendants of slaves. Something that we don't really talk about is who were we before slavery, and who do we want to be now, kind of like that. It's as if we were just going like, hey, we just want to be free, but really, like, Wakanda painted a picture, like an ideal image of we're peaceful. Okay, fine. We'll share the technology with the world, but we're gonna make sure. But it's not. We're not gonna try to dominate the world. We're just gonna try to help, kind of like that. Like to me, the whole time I was like, hey, Killmonger's what the fuck? I mean, I'm down with Killmonger, but it's only towards the end that I found myself thinking that, okay, who are you, B?
Well, like,
are you your rage?
Well, I get where like Wakanda's like, hey, let's just kind of just go off in our own area and do our own thing because there's a lot of shit going around us. And just, I get where that is. Like, let's just be our own nation and do our own thing. I mean, the whole movie's an argument against nationalism. It's kind of a bad argument against nationalism. But I think when Killmonger was the argument against it in a weird way, where it's like, yeah, but this is what happens. Eventually, someone's gonna get in. Eventually, there's people out there that need you, that like you're turning your back on. Like,
he raised a lot of good points. Don't get me wrong, and that's what I like about the movie. There was a very big point of showing the difference between black people who grew up in North America and black people who grew up in Africa. Like, that divide is quite clear. Like, even that conversation that Killmonger has with his dad when he goes like into the plane and he says, well, maybe it's your people who are lost because they couldn't find me, and he's like, look what I've done, I've turned my son. And I'm like, yo, I've had conversations like that with like my parents of where they feel like they failed because they didn't take me back, like to where, I mean they're from Guyana, so not
you're
Africa,
Guyanese
but
too?
Still that. Yeah, no, I was going to bring that up in the pre-call as well, that I hear that you talk about being Guyanese as well. So I'm like, oh man, this is great. But but it just even that kind of conversation that gets had, but even between the generations, it doesn't have to be the different parts of the world, like different continents. It's it touched on a lot that I truly appreciated.
Well, it's also like as if your parents or my parent or my mom's age. America performed a coup in Guyana, so it's my mom does not like what's his name? What's that president that got shot? What's his name? JFK.
Oh, JFK. She does not. Yeah,
does not
that
like
makes sense.
JFK at all.
Wow.
Because she witnessed a coup. She lived through it, right?
Right.
She lived through a coup from the. So like even if your parents are like, I should have brought you up there. It's like. You're not out of the reach of imperialism. You're always these countries are like their resources mean something. They have value. They're going into Venezuela for oil. Don't fool yourself on that shit.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah.
No, that's one thing I always grew up with. My parents reminding me what some of these wars were about.
Yeah, exactly. And all right, I went extra long on this one. We got to do this again. But like,
I would love to.
Yeah, this was fun. So. The final, you guys think Black Panther gonna win? Not gonna win?
No, it's not.
Yo, Black Panther won in my heart. That's all that counts. Fuck the Oscars.
I'm just glad it got nominated.
Yes,
that's all I care about.
I hope it doesn't win because I don't want it to be an Oscar movie. In a good way.
I mean, I want Ryan. Help me out with this. Google it. Yeah. I mean, I want him to get his props, everything that he wants. Props. But word, okay. But I don't want him to be disappointed that he didn't get an Oscar. That's what I'm trying to say.
I mean, like, how much money did this movie make?
A lot.
Exactly.
It's a stupid amount of money.
Ryan, dry your tears with the money, bro.
Ryan is set. He is set. Yeah. He's going to be able to do whatever the fuck he wants for a long time.
For real.
Yeah, he said he's just going to keep making movies with Michael B. Jordan. That's his plan.
My man.
There you go, Martin Scorsese. That's what you do.
Exactly.
All right, this is I'm gonna end on this one. That was great. Thanks, guys. All right, so this is like we're doing an Oscar episode. Like, this whole episode is going to be like an Oscar. You heard the segment before was about Black Panther and it getting nominated. Mm-hmm. But this we're doing a review. We did a review of a movie from 2018. It won Best Picture at the 75th Golden Globe Awards, Best Motion Picture, Drama, Best Actress. For McDermott, it's called Three Billboards. I'll introduce the movie first. It's called Three Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri. It's a 2017 dark comedy crime drama written, directed, and produced by Martin McDowell and starring Frances McDormand as a woman who rents 3 billboards to call attention to her daughter's unsolved rape and murder. Woody Harrelson, Sam Rockwell, Abby Cornish, John Hawkes, and Peter Dinklage appear in supporting roles. It was released in the United States in November 2017 and in the United Kingdom in January 2018 by Fox Searchlight Pictures and grossed $159 million worldwide. McDermott won Best Actress. Sam Rockwell won Best Supporting Actor. And it won Best Screenplay it won 3 SAG Awards, including Outstanding Performance by Cast in a Motion Picture, and 5 BAFTA Awards, including Best Film, Outstanding British Film. Basically, what happens? This woman, like it said, she puts up 3 billboards. One saying, calling out the sheriff. The other one asking why her daughter's rape and brutal murder hasn't been solved. Correct. And from there, the town turns on her somewhat. There's a racist cop, Sam Rockwell, who's he's just shitty at his job. The chief of police, who's played by Woody Harrelson, who's trying to keep it all together. He's trying to be fair with the woman, and he's trying to be fair with Sam Rockwell, trying to deal with him. He dies. He kills himself because he has cancer. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. He's fighting cancer at the same time.
Yeah, and then at that point, Sam Rockwell finds a redemption and decides to solve or attempts to solve the murder of Frances McDormand's character's daughter,
Mildred.
Yeah, Mildred. I hated this movie. I thought this movie was fucking terrible.
You straight hate it.
Yeah, it was.
Are we talking double middle finger hate or?
Yeah, this is double middle finger. There's a lot of there's a lot of instances in this movie where I'm like okay, that first conversation that they used. There's a lot of edgelordness in this, like a lot of like using words like retard and nigger and stuff like that. And it's just, it feels like cunt. Like it feels so forced. Like everything it's like the person doesn't understand small towns. Like it just like nobody talks like this. They're like wrestling characters.
The director Martin McDowell.
Yeah,
he's from Ireland. Is that true?
He's from Ireland. He made the movie in Burgess.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So he does, but he also did Seven Psychopaths. Which is a movie that's supposed to be based in America. So the thing that there was a lot of things in this movie where I'm just like, okay, well, that's nitpicking, so I'll just let it go. Like there's a scene where like when she calls, the sheriff is like, and everything is like the sheriff pulls up and he's a bad the constable, Sam Rockwell's character, pulls up when the billboards are being put up and he's like, hey Beaner. And it's just, okay, fuck. Okay, here we go. Yeah, he's a racist. Okay, no, fine. I'll let it go. And he calls the sheriff, who's having Easter dinner. He's like, I'm trying to have a goddamn dinner here with and he's like swearing in front of his kids on Easter. Yeah. And I'm like, this is so forced. Anyway, so yeah, blah blah. I don't know. That was my first red flag in this movie. Was that?
I love it.
You didn't mind this movie, right?
I didn't mind it. I'm not. You know, I'm okay. I'm gonna. I'll tell you what. My rating right now is half a middle finger.
Okay.
Yeah, because I guess I fell for. I was seduced by the movie. So that scene you were talking about, where talking to his kids. You know, I'm having my goddamn dinner. You know, ha. That made me laugh. They're going, oh, sorry, kids. Don't talk like that, you know.
It felt like old humor. Like it felt like if this was a drama, the humor was acceptable. If this was a comedy, it's like, what the fuck? Like, you're hack. Like they're like, oh, he swears in front of his kids. Hilarious. Here's my perfect example who this this movie is for. I pulled up a quote from this review who was like, who loved the movie, who thought the movie was so amazing, and like, and it's a soccer mom. It's like it's a white older soccer mom who's like, oh, this is an important movie during the time of Harvey Weinstein. Okay, this is the quote that she says. It's Dinklage who delivers the biggest laugh of the film. A line of deadpan dialogue that we don't spoil here. Let's just say that it takes a second for the joke to register as the audience asks, are they really going there? Before howling at the realization, hell yeah, they are. Like, that's the type of person that likes this movie. Like, just fucking sheltered white women who think this fucking is So there's a lot of things in this movie that, like, they just... I might be nitpicky for me. It's like, okay, she has a fire extinguisher in the front seat of her car.
Yep.
She... when Sam Rockwell it's spoiler alert if you haven't seen the movie, sorry, but he gets fired from the police station.
Correct.
He throws a man who's selling the billboards to this woman out of a window. He punches a woman. He beats the fuck out of this guy.
Yep.
And Lester Freeman is standing right there. He watches the whole fucking thing, right?
Yeah.
So he goes into the precinct. We find out that Lester Freeman's the new chief because the old chief killed himself.
Yeah.
And so everyone's giving him attitude, and they're playing up the racist stuff, but it's not overt. And then he goes over to this guy who he just watched throw out of a window and beat the fuck out of, and then walk into a precinct. And he's like, "Are you still working on the case?" And the guy's like, "You basically go fuck yourself." And then he's like, "You know what? Give me your gun and badge." So he wasn't fired for being a racist cop. He wasn't fired for throwing a man out of a second-story window. He was fired for being insubordinate.
He fired for being insubordinate.
And this is the beginning of the redemption story for him.
Yeah. But I thought, okay, so you had Lester Freeman in there, and my connection to The Wire was the whole, the Western District way. Meaning, for him, he understands police culture, and he knows how to keep his mouth shut. Wait a second,
you can't pull other sources of pop culture into this movie. You can't. He's not playing Lester Freeman.
He's not playing Lester Freeman. I agree, but I guess the reason why I figured, dude, you just witnessed a guy fraud a man out of a window,
right?
And you let it slide. So I thought he was just being playing police culture, and hey, if my partner says he had to do it, then that's what he do. Like, I just thought he was just playing along like a normal cop.
Well, see, like, here's in front of all those people in broad daylight. That's you can't play along like normal cop.
Good point.
My problem too is, like, he just happens to be there when that happens. Like, he just happens to be there when that happens. Also, the chief just killed himself like the night before, and they have a new chief coming in. Like, just happens.
Yeah.
Also, the chief leaves a letter for Sam Rockwell. His redemption. It's part of his redemption arc. And Sam Rockwell, this is a huge problem for me. I've tried to get over this. Frances McDormand's character decides, because someone lit the billboards on fire, she decides she's going to throw Molotov cocktails at the police precinct, which there's so much of this where people like kicking kids in crotches and shit, and nothing happens to anybody.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much, people just do shit, and there's no consequences. There's no consequences.
Bro, she's the female Punisher.
But everyone, like, nobody gets in trouble for anything. I'll get to the point, the dialogue that really fucked me over with this movie. So she throws a Molotov cocktail at the precinct, lights it on fire. Sam Rockwell doesn't. He's in the precinct. He's reading a letter with his back to the window, and he doesn't notice that it's on fire. Why?
With his headphones on.
Who reads a letter and listens to music?
Hollywood, yes, okay.
That is like I'm sitting there going, I don't know how you can read a letter and listen to music. I don't understand. And I've been in a fire. If you're near it, you notice the light. Like big goddamn window, the whole thing's on fire. You would notice. But who? Hey, I'm gonna read a letter and listen to fucking I don't know. And listen to some trap music and like just like, oh yeah, I can concentrate on these two things. He's a dumb motherfucker. They've established that he's dumb, but he knows how to read and listen to music.
He's listening to some Ted Nugent,
some
track about molesting some or loving some young underage girls, some shit like that.
I don't even have a problem with him being a racist. This is my problem. It's the director and the writer. This is my problem. When they arrest Frances McDermott's character, and her and Sam Rockwell's character are in the precinct, and they're having like I guess it's an interrogation, and she says to him, How is the nigger torturing business going?
Jesus Christ, yeah.
And then he says, they're people of color. I torture people of color. They prefer to be called. And so this is my problem. Who is that joke for? Because that's a satire on the idea that political correctness has gone amok, right? Like, so you have the law who's torturing black people, correcting her, saying, actually, they're not niggers. Don't call them that. It's people of color. Meaning that like the writer's trying to say, hey, we need to concentrate on what the real problem is and not these superficial things like words.
Yeah.
We need to worry about like real. But here's a problem about the structural racism that he doesn't mention it ever again. Structure. It's never mentioned ever again. It's never dealt with. They talk about torturing black people, and like they never. And there's no black people. This scene is done with two white people, and there's no black people in this movie except to move the character stories along. Lester Freeman comes in to make sure he has a redemption arc, so he gets fired. He goes. The black woman goes to jail for that white woman, right?
That pissed me off, man. Right. That pissed me off.
That just disappeared. He tortures black people, but he goes on a redemption arc without any deal. Like, how is he a better person? He's the same racist, but black people are defending him in a bar. Like, he's the same fucking racist.
Oh, right. Yo, man, he's a cop.
And the writer has the nerve to tell us, like, because in that statement, that to me, that statement with that scene is the typical political correctness has gone a run amok white people business. Because what he's saying is, and then the sheriff comes in and is like, come on, you know, if we got rid of all cops that had a little bit of racism, we'd have no cops. And it's dismissed. What he's saying is, don't worry, stop worrying about being called nigger because there's bigger problems in it. But even those bigger problems, shut the fuck up about it.
Interesting.
It is totally like white fragility in a fucking movie.
Bro, you know what's bothering me about your analysis right now? I'm a motherfucking soccer mom. Holy shit. I was seduced, man.
Did you like it?
Oh, yeah.
I went on a long tirade. Tell me.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I'm like, fuck. I'm a bitch. Anyways, keep going.
No, you tell me, because I kind of like that's the major that like there's stuff like there's tone problems like her ex husband comes in and chokes her, and there's a knife to her, so and then the girl comes in and she's like, I gotta go to the bathroom, and it's like, why is that character there?
Wow, the underage girl.
Yeah, and she's like this dumb, and it's like, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Or Peter Dinklage, who's an amazing actor, is in this. All of them, like there's tons. Like, but Lester Freeman's an amazing actor. Peter Dinklage is basically used for a midget choke.
Jesus, that yeah.
That's all he's. That's all he's there for. The thing is, and even this fucking white woman in this movie isn't redemptive. She's just like, she doesn't grow or anything. They even use a rape. They even use rape and charred remains. Like, why did you have to char remains anyway? They even use a rape to the idea of sexual assault. Excuse me, to drive the plot of the movie. They never solve anything, and like this. Just why did the rapist come into her store and admit that he raped her, and then like that was it.
Yeah. So it was the guy. Okay, it was the same white dude.
But he wasn't the guy. Like, he was the same guy, but he wasn't the guy.
Correct.
There's so many things where you have to just like the whole movie is like the billboards. Every ethnic character, every brown, like a Mexican person showed up with some money for her. The brown people are all in it. I have extra billboards. The black woman went to jail, and she threw fire at that jail.
She threw. Oh shit, for real, eh?
Right?
The part that gets me too is that how she gets out of jail. Hey, I just got out today.
Hey,
like,
I didn't even know you were out. Like, where the and hugging her. Every person of color is like supporting her and like on her side, and she must be right. And then they use racism, but she never helps anyone but herself. She doesn't care about anyone but herself, and they use racism in this movie to illustrate that he's bad. We understand he's bad because he's racist, but other than that's racism. Like it's like, don't use racism. Use something else to show he's bad. If you're not gonna deal with police brutality and racism, don't use it. Fuck. It's such a white dude it's such a white dude. It is
movie. Such a white dude with what was that one dimension, like a very limited view of the real world.
Yeah.
Like I get it's supposed to be a fairy tale, like I said, I joked about it, but fuck it, I watched this shit like a soccer mom. I let the feel good moments get to me. Like so here I guess I'm trying to say what distracted me from everything you just pointed out was the comedy. Woody Harrelson, he's got cancer, and the girl tells her, "Hey, look, man, I had to call you out because it'd be pointless to do it while you're dead." Shit like that. So shit like that made me, what the fuck, the rage in this lady. It's like I bonded with her. Everyone kept telling her, "Hey, put down those signs, put down those signs." I'm like, fuck that, keep those signs up.
But nothing happened with her. Like, she didn't grow as a character, which that's what a movie is a journey, right? So you don't know who the only person that grew was the racist cop, and he basically he grew because everyone forgave him because he burnt his face. Like, what the fuck?
But to me, she was like the female version of Punisher with the less violent female version of the Punisher. So sure, she burnt down the precinct and she kicked some kids in the nuts. I like that. Her usage of the F word, or
she stabbed a dentist. She told off a priest.
The dentist.
She calls a priest a pedophile while her priest is at home with her son.
Yeah, culpable
at night.
Yes, I love that stuff about culpability.
Yeah, but like even that is like it's all horseshit. There's no consequences for any of her actions. You can't go around kicking kids in the dick.
Yeah. Which one of you threw that shit at me?
Yeah.
Now, here's one thing I will say, right? And I remember, I wish I'm laughing. I remember when I saw the trailer and I messaged you, yo, this movie looks like it's gonna be great. So, just watch it.
Well, because I know about like how people were upset about the redeeming arc, but like that scene where they're like it seemed like he liked just saying the word nigger.
Oh, dude,
that whole scene felt like that.
My brain is like I've gotten used to it. I'm not saying it's right or whatever, but my brain is white people be white people, and whatnot. So I said so when I watched the trailer, I thought this movie was a commentary about Sandra Bland. By the way, her birthday was on the 7th.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Sandra Bland, and justice for Sandra Bland. Where the fuck is she at? So I thought this was a commentary about her, where is she? What happened to her? And that white lady was like her mom, and I was like, I think I was looking at her like she was Sandra Bland's mom.
Well, that would still be a little bit like, well, why are you using a white lady to do this? But if it was a commentary on like police power and police, and how they cover up and stuff like it might be a good movie. But this was just like even in the beginning, the cops like, we investigated, we have no DNA, we have no witnesses, we have nothing, and I'm like, at that point, I'm like, okay, I believe him. Like what else am I supposed to do? I'm given the information I'm given in this movie. There's no point where I'm like, oh, this cop seems like a liar, because they're not giving you any other side. It's like, yes, so what he says is the truth. I can't make up other shit. And then when Lester Freeman's in, he's like, yeah, that guy's not the rapist. He wasn't even in the country. And they're like, oh, well, do you want to go kill him anyway? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. But the movie ends with these two going, do you think we're doing the right thing?
Yeah.
I don't know. And then cuts out. So
And
I
what
guess you're supposed to decide whether they kill him or not.
And what the fuck is with Woody Harrelson's wife in this movie?
She was hot, dude.
Yeah,
Sorry.
but it doesn't fit. She's an Australian supermodel who's living in a small town with a fucking country bumpkin sheriff.
I mean, they did that to him for True Detective. Didn't they give him a hot wife in True Detective? Like,
Not like this woman. I'm like, this woman's flawed. Like, what the fuck? Like, why would she move here in Missouri?
Yeah, there was no background story to. No, it was just like, hey, Woody Harrelson with the hot wife. Now that's suicide. I think the other thing too I like is when he commits suicide.
Yeah,
I hated his character until they read out his letters. Then I was like, oh, so I guess I was like moved by how they flipped me.
Well, even that's like horseshit because it's like,
of course it's horseshit, dude. Yeah, for a split
suicide?
second while watching this movie, I believed in Santa Claus. I guess that's what happened, man.
well, like I mean, a suicide that's like fucking high school drama, and then he commits suicide.
Then he boom.
Oh my god, yeah. And then read the letter, and there's a letter for everyone, and then the Dixon who's like, I understand you have like, and in the letter he says to Dixon, "I know you're a good cop." Really? How do you know? Because I don't know. There's been no evidence. He's just drunk all the time, and he doesn't do anything. He threw a guy out of a window. How is he a good cop? You know he tortures black people. How is he? Well, you got too much anger in you, and the key to police. And I know you're gonna flinch. And that line when he wrote that in there, the writer and the director of this movie knew that this is a shit line. You are going to flinch when you hear this, but love is what you need to do detective work. Motherfucker, you don't need love.
While he's burning inside the precinct. Oh, he doesn't realize he's burning, but he's like in the fire.
No, he's
in the precinct.
Okay. He's listening to Cher, so he can't hear the fucking...
Oh my God, that's right, eh?
I don't know. He was listening to something. I don't know how you can listen. This woman pulled a full tank of fire extinguisher, not a small one, out of the front seat of her car who drives around with a fire extinguisher?
Yeah, apparently the real life billboard lady drives around with a shovel, and she says that man. She says if because I'm waiting at any moment to find out about my daughter, and I might have to dig her in something. But here's what I hated about the movie, and you pointed out is one. Wanting me to fall in love with this racist character.
Yeah.
Now I get it. For white people see races differently from us. Like for me, it's it's on our side. Fuck that. There's no love. There's don't ask me to be friends with them. Yes, I understand. They're human beings and everything like that. But in the state the generation that I'm part of, white supremacy gets 2 middle fingers from me. Don't ask me to turn my other cheek, for these guys.
But they don't want forgiveness for their racism. They just want just white overall forgiveness. Like, because this guy didn't do anything for racism. In fact, they told us to shut the fuck up about political correctness and then kind of just ignore. Like, and to me, that scene is typical. It's like I said, it's the typical anti-PC person. It's like it's the whataboutism. It's the if Confederate statues are a symbol of slavery, what about Walmart? What about why don't you tear down Walmart? And it's like they don't mean they don't care. They're just trying to fucking change the subject.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what he literally did that in the movies. What about police brutality? Anyway, let's forget about police brutality. Let's move on.
I'll tell you what. One thing this movie made me think about is in the future, I won't be surprised if they come out with documentary or movies to try to make you feel sorry about George Zimmerman. What's the name of Darren? The guy who shot Michael Brown.
Dude, this character is them.
That's what I'm getting. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
This character is him. This character.
Yeah, and then I got to argue with white people about, no, but it was a brilliant movie.
Dude, I see people arguing with people about, what's the swimmer that raped people? Brock Turner. Leave Brock Turner alone.
Oh, my God.
That poor young white boy.
His career ahead of him. Come on, man.
Yeah, look at his swim speeds.
20 minutes of action. Come on, man.
This movie is, and I saw people going on. Well, I don't understand why people are upset. Like, what? So you're saying because you're racist, you can't change, you can't grow?
Exactly.
Just he. What do you mean there was no punishment? He was on fire. He burnt himself. Well, he didn't redeem himself from racism. Racism is minor, and like, so he's good now. He's a good guy because he's solving a rape, but he punched the woman in the face. He threw a dude out of a window, and he tortures. This is the quote from them: tortures black people in jail cells. But the rape is the more important thing. The white woman's rape is more important than all of that. The two scenes of this, giving people love that they don't deserve. Oh, that's what they're talking about. Great. So the dude who gets thrown out the window, when the cop, the racist cop, he's burnt, he's in the hospital. Oh yeah. The guy gets thrown out the window. Hey, you okay, buddy? And then he realizes who he actually is. And just happens to be in the same hospital room.
Yeah, no. Bro, yeah, no, that's well, yeah. And he gives him that orange juice to make it like I'm the good guy, and then he cries like a little bitch. He literally did no work for his redemption arc. He was caught on fire. He got fired. There was no work he had to do to become to be the good guy in this movie. He just went through some shit that was like hard for everyone, and then he became the good guy. He got caught on fire and he became the good guy. Do you think if I was this dude who I know tortures black people and I was in a bar and some other white dude were gonna beat him up, do you think I would step in there? I'm out. I'll probably take some YouTube clips.
Kick the shit out of this motherfucker. He's a former cop. No, he's a former cop. Kick the fuck out of him.
You know what I mean? I might make shit up. Yeah,
right? Man, no. Stop it, please. This guy. There's like 3 black people in this town, and he's beating up all of us.
Yeah.
But I will lie. I would lay. It's this Sidney Poitier fucking horse shit. Jumping from the goddamn train shit. It's this. You see how black people in this movie, like, it's like we just turn goddamn cheeks like crazy,
like a motherfucker. Yeah,
and that's all we are. Live to serve. It's Mr. Church fuck over. And I just
black people in this movie live to serve white people,
and that's all white people want to see is, oh, that's fine. Okay, good.
That's fine. Exactly.
Okay. They absolved us of the hate, and then people who see themselves as that Dixon guy. Are full of shit too. If you see yourself as that,
I can be redeemed, just not right now.
Anyway, so we went over a bit on this one. What do you want to give this? How many fingers?
I should give it a middle finger. Okay, no, I'm gonna give it a full middle finger for trying to get me to love a racist. But the other, I'm not saying I hate the movie. I'm not saying I love the movie. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? I didn't hate it. I didn't love it.
I'm giving it 2 full middle fingers. It's straight up Oscar. Like, this is how Oscars deal with race. I was thinking today about like Moonlight and why that got nominated, and I realized what Moonlight is it's a gay movie that waves a finger at the black community for its toxic masculinity. And so it doesn't hang like, which, I'm not saying that's wrong that it does that. I'm just saying that white people can stand back and go, see?
Yeah, one of those.
See? Yeah, look, the black community needs to get their shit together. So that's why I understand why Moonlight won. But this is typical Oscar racism fare. Whenever I watch movies like this, I just picture Clint Eastwood just like, yes, just checkbox. Yes, you're damn right. That's all I picture. That's. I swear to God, I can't even help it. I just picture he's the prototypical Oscar voter.
Yeah.
All right,
Gran Torino.
Yeah, he's a Gran Torino.
He's a Gran Torino.
Oh fuck, we got to do that one. We got to do a positive one, so we will. Okay, I'm gonna stop it on this. Hey, I hope you guys are enjoying this episode. If you are, do me a favor. Go to iTunes right now. Leave a comment. Leave a rating. It'll help us out so much. Hey, also, if you want to follow us on social media, that'd be great. You can follow us on Twitter at MRD Podcast, on Facebook at Master Race Debaters, and on Instagram at MRD Podcast. We're also on YouTube. If you got comments and suggestions or just want to drop us and say, hey, fuck you guys, you can email us at masterrdpodcast@gmail.com. Yes, we'll take your emails. We'll respond. Trust me. We got nothing better to do. Anyway, here we go. Without further ado, me and B Black getting back into it.
First, I should start with, hey, how's your Black History Month going, bro?
It's not that far in, and there's a lot of Virginia problems.
I don't think I would have known Liam Neeson would be able to be part of ruining my Black History Month.
Fuck.
Jesus.
What the fuck is wrong with that man?
So for those who are just, what's the story? So he was in an interview. He was being interviewed by who knows? I don't know.
Like some entertainment news thing.
Entertainment news.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
He had an incident where a friend of his.
It might be the Daily Beast. It might be Daily Beast.
Daily Beast.
It might be. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
So his a friend of his was raped. And apparently, she's going through the grieving process. She comes up to her and asks, "Hey, I don't know. Hey, what was the race of that dude?"
Yeah, he said, "What color was he?"
What color was he?
And this is in Ireland. This is Ireland, predominantly white. But continue, please.
Oh, this is in Ireland.
Yeah, this
wow.
happened in Ireland.
Okay, all right. So, and then she reveals that it was he was black.
Yeah.
And that drove him to so much rage that it brought out a racism that was never there before.
It was never there.
And it brought out rage to the point that, if I understand it, he hung out by a black neighborhood for a week, hoping to find any black dude to talk shit to him, because he was going to kill him.
He had a conch or something where he could hit people, and he walked around for a week and a half, he said.
Yeah.
Just waiting for some black person to black man to start something with him.
Right.
Like you do.
People do, right.
Like a normal behavior, what normal people do. Not racist at all.
Right. Right. God forbid you're a black person having a bad day.
Yeah.
And you're reaching up and this white dude is staring at you.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck you looking at? Bing!
Well, if you're black, then it's basic. You don't make eye contact. You keep your eyes on the ground. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, it's like white people are tigers, and we have to be like, okay, well, let's figure out how not to disturb this tiger. You're just like, what the fuck? Like, what the? Oh my god, these cops are like tigers. So, yeah, yeah. He said he, and then at the end of it, he didn't even like say it was racist. He's just like, oh, I didn't kill anyone, but I regret that that darkness came from me.
Yeah, exactly. Cooler minds prevailed. Yeah. Yes, exactly. I
didn't
give in to the dark side.
And you know what kills me? It's like when I picture this like Entertainment Tonight softball question, like, hey, because he's in all those like revenge movies, like, hey, can you tell us a time when you felt revenge? and then he's like, there was a time I wanted to kill some black bastard.
Yo, I would kill to do an impression of being able to do an impression of Liam Neeson.
I can only do a pirate, so it's close. That's as close as I can get. I remember the time I tried to kill a black bastard.
Blockbusters. I can't. Blockbusters. I'm working on it.
You sound like a black British person. I sound like Liam Neeson. You're taking my daughter. Now I have to make you walk the plank.
So here's the thing. Now here's the thing that I'll tell you. For me, what bothers me about the whole response to the situation is how two groups were broken into.
Yeah.
One group was like fighting for the right for a white man to articulate his anger any way he wants to.
Hey, you know what? Yeah, okay, sorry.
Wait, hold on. And the other side is people fighting for the right for black people to be able to remember history.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like everyone's acting like, or the white people are acting like what he said is new. Like it's like a discovery. Like it's a revelation that like I don't know, shit. Like he said some turn the other cheek, Jesus type of shit like that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we're like, no shit.
Well,
have you heard of lynching?
And this is the problem with the culture war. It's like now it's so tribalistic that nobody has any fucking nuance. So like I love D.L. Hughley. I think he's very funny. I love his takes. But he had the worst, hottest take that I've ever heard. He was saying, well, we're as black people, we're always upset when people do racism and they never admit to racism. And this man told his truth. He said that he talked about his he said something that we don't normally hit. He admitted some dark truth, and I can't penalize someone. Which, yeah, if he just admitted a dark truth, if Liam Neeson just said, yeah, when I found out that my first of all, you asked the color of the person, which is okay, but anyway, fine. And he said, I had a moment where I was like, I want to go kill a black person, right? Even if he said I had a moment where I wanted to, I thought to myself, I want to kill a black bastard. Fine. And then I realized that was wrong. But he went out to kill fucking people. That's not a thought. That is action. That is, if he ran into someone, he would. The only thing this goes back to the last segment with Sheriff Dixon. It's all circumstance that saved him from being like truly lynching someone. He didn't happen to run into a black person. That's it.
Correct.
That's all.
That's what
it wasn't from the kindness of his heart.
Yeah. Or no, he was lucky he didn't have a nigger moment. Someone step on his shoes. Sorry, sir.
Exactly. It's put too much gas in his car.
or you know what? He was probably looking for a black dude that was shorter than him.
Yeah.
Or that he could take, and he just kept seeing a whole bunch of like cop diesel motherfuckers or full force looking guys pass in front of him.
And how many black people in Ireland? Like how many black people in Ireland too? When I find you, I like when we were talking about it, you thought it was like Liam Neeson L.A. It was like Liam Neeson wandering L.A. right after the premiere of Darkman. He was like,
he went to Compton. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna go down to Compton and find me a black bastard. Fuck.
But what was I saying here? So I can actually excuse okay, fine. You went to the neighborhood, you felt that rage. You walked around with that rage for a whole week, ready to pounce on the next black person. I get that, I can actually excuse that part. What kills me is I wish, like the same people defending his right to articulate, get mad the way he wants to. I wish there was one of them who could take the time to read the names and the story of the people who've been lynched. You know what I mean? Like they've started to document actual names and story. Who were these human beings that you saw hanging from trees in front of a crowd of smiling white faces?
But you see, that's the problem with the culture war. They're always going to take the opposite opinion. They're always going to say that Trump isn't racist. They're always going to say that Brock Turner should be let go. And people, George Zimmerman, they're always going to say Trayvon Martin shouldn't have jumped on George Zimmerman.
There we go.
They're always going to say Tamir Rice shouldn't have been playing with that gun. They're always going to say that.
Exactly. Well said.
They're always going to say that.
This is what kills me about this whole and when you said culture wars. When I talk about white people, I'm not talking about individual white person. I'm talking about like the idea of white people,
absolutely.
like white supremacy.
If you're three seasons in on this podcast, you know what we're talking about.
Exactly. But my thing is, when a white person feels rage. Most of the time, I can identify with, like, as human beings, we identify what your daughter was molested. That's fucked up. You know what I mean? How can I help? Your car is stuck in a ditch. How can
but here's the thing, like, especially in Black America, even here and everywhere, any dark person, we don't have the right to act on our rage. We can't even voice our rage. Our rage is ignored. It's just
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. For us, there's got to be. Whoa, hold on. Let's look at both sides of the story. Why maybe you shouldn't be as angry as you
we
are.
Couldn't go and wander around and like try to that's racist. The first thing they would say to us.
Holy shit! Yo, hey, look. Actually, Dallas. The I forgot his name. I should remember his name. That black dude who they executed. They sent a drone robot to kill because he was shooting cops.
Yeah.
I just googled Dallas cop shooter.
Which there's a white dude out there who wanted me to answer for Black Lives Matter. Don't come to me and ask me why he was shooting cops. Please don't ask me.
Exactly. But that dude acted on a rage.
Acted on a rage.
But the thing is, they killed him. They got him. Like
and he's not and the dude's not justified either.
Eh?
Dude's not justified either.
He's not justified. But what I'm saying is, They dealt with him.
Yeah.
Us, we got to listen to these white dudes talk about their feelings.
Yeah.
And, I had a moment of racism, and I felt really bad about myself.
Yeah.
And, like, it's an entertaining. It's like it's an award-winning. It's like, anyways, it's a frustrating experience. Yeah.
You know how many Facebook arguments I avoided this week just based on what you're talking about? Like, so many. I just like, there's no point. There's literally no point. When the Trump had a State of the Union address, and I was just like, no. And people were like, well, I thought it was good. And I'm like, no, I can't.
You had someone on your timeline
I
say
can't.
it was good?
People, because they have it's like Candace Owens and the Hitler thing. It's like they're going to keep defending extreme shit because that's the side they're on. They call it the right, but they're on that side of how is Liam Neeson racist? I don't see it.
Mm-hmm. It's okay. Here, that's what I'm getting at. It would have been cool if he said, "My rage helped me reveal my racist thoughts."
Yeah.
Boom! Oh my God! I've been okay. All right.
Yeah, but
right.
Liam Neeson has never been around black people.
Shit.
Did you see Michelle Rodriguez what she said?
But she apologized after. I just saw an article about that.
She said that she saw Liam Neeson kiss Viola Davis, and the way he kissed her, there's no way he could be a racist because he was like full tongue. If you were like, yeah, fucking, what's his name? George Washington fucking raped his slaves. That doesn't mean shit. These people and their fucking concept of racism.
You know what I love? I love how you did the George Washington. No, was it George Washington or the guy after Jackson guy?
No, George Washington had slaves. He had
George Washington.
Yeah, he raped his slaves.
Jefferson too.
Yeah, Jefferson, and it was a relationship. That's what. That's what
exactly. Now, what I love about you doing that, because I nearly, without thinking, was going to make a porn integration porn reference, but you saved me and making us look more educated.
I used to do a joke about Jefferson or Washington. Either one, they all owned and fucked their slaves. There's no way. I used to do a joke about how, based on their concept of slavery, that'd be like fucking your dishwasher or your toaster.
Oh, wow.
I know, it's horrible. It's a horrible joke. It never worked. I never did it again. But it was basically you own something. You're not in a relationship. You owned a human being. That is rape. Yes. Regardless if she was like, yeah, absolutely.
Agreed.
She did not have a choice in that say.
Exactly. There's actually a movie. Fuck you, Netflix. There's actually a movie. I forget the title about some witch comes to the future, and she's from some Caribbean slave island, 16 whatever, right? And she's in love with her slave master. It's like she's trying to get back to her.
She like romantic love with her slave master.
Some shit like that. Yeah, exactly. Some bullshit thing like that.
What the fuck is wrong with white people?
Jesus Christ. Because they have to romanticize slavery.
I was listening to a podcast and they were talking at Chap House and they were talking about that movie Soul Man. I never watched that movie, but it's basically about this rich white kid whose father refused to pay for his college, so he tries to get a scholarship by making him skin black.
Yes, I remember that movie.
Here's the thing, though. Radon Chong plays the black girl that was supposed to get the scholarship. They fall in love. He takes a scholarship by dressing up in blackface, and they fall in love.
And of course, yeah. That's white people have an interesting view of reality.
I don't get it.
No, correction. White people have an interesting perception of other people's reality.
Well, they bend it. It's got to bend and shape and twist, and So back to Liam. Who you were telling me before this? You were saying that you were getting DMs from people. What were they saying?
Oh yeah, because the DMs for people to okay, you know what I mean. Asking basically, they would send me clips of DL Hughley or what's this other guy's name? John Burns.
Yeah.
Mr. Liam Neeson deserves a medal, and it's like this guy's an intelligent. Like one person went as far as to say, he's an intelligent black man. More people should listen to him. Some bullshit like that. It's like,
is it white people telling? Was it white people sending you this stuff?
All kinds of diversity.
Why do they think that like one person is the entire view of everybody?
Exactly. No, the thing that bothers, like, I get it, right?
Yeah.
They're fighting for them. It's let this white man speak his mind. Stop reacting.
You know what
stop
they're fighting
censoring
for?
him.
They want to see another Taken movie. That's what they're fucking fighting for. They love his movies, and they don't want to be like, oh, I gotta cancel this shit.
Hey, you know what I mean? Exactly. Because of these damn niggas.
I'm writing this joke about how like our generation, like it's easy to cancel. Cancel culture is easy now because like we have streaming services, right? When you wanted a song, you had to get in your fucking car and drive down to a mall to get the entire album.
Yeah.
So you couldn't cancel people. You needed evidence like you wouldn't believe to cancel Bill Cosby. But people. That's all they do. They love Liam Neeson's movies. That's all.
Exactly. I guess I've been saying, and I feel like I need to explain what I mean when I say fuck Liam Neeson and fuck his movie. It's like, I care less about the bad press that he's getting than the list of human beings who were lynched in the United States because of that kind of thinking. You know, back in the day, it was legal. It was fucking legal to act on that rage. Yeah. It was okay to do so.
Dude, it's still legal to act on that rage. How many cops have actually gotten in trouble? Excuse me, remember that one cop that we talked about in a couple episodes ago? That one cop that got 20 years for shooting the black man. They fucking lynching black people like crazy still.
Yeah.
They're still telling us where we can eat. We can't eat at Starbucks. I had a dude tell me this ownership. We got to talk about ownership mentality. That's a great concept that you have. But yeah, I had a dude tell me I got to answer for Black Lives Matter. I demand answers from me. Oh, fuck you.
I know. And one person jump. Actually, I should address it, but I posted the Liam Neeson story, and the first question he asked, "Oh, he's racist? What makes him racist?" That tells me you're not interested in having an interesting conversation. You want to tell me why I'm wrong for perceiving him as racist. Yo, I'm saying this shit could have been a great learning opportunity to learn from each other. Yes, I get it. He was mad. I can relate to that anger. Like Chris Rock has a clip about being angry to the point where I'm gonna pick on, whatever you're sensitive about.
Yeah.
Actually, no, that's not the same thing. But I mean, like, just...
Dude, there's no learning and shit.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
Liam Neeson didn't learn anything in this. You know what Liam Neeson learred? Keep your mouth shut.
Keep your mouth shut.
That's what he learned. He's an idiot, though.
Trying to promote a movie.
Why did he open his fucking mouth? That's what I don't understand. Like, just shut your fucking mouth. Sell your movie and shut the fuck up.
Being deep. I think in his mind, he felt he was being deep.
Yeah.
He was like, hey... I was racist.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's these vapid fucking Hollywood people. It's like we were talking about in the last segment. I'm like, how do they keep getting to make movies? They're stupid. They're stupid fucking people. They're vapid. I don't think Liam Neeson's a completely stupid person, but you have to live in some sort of fucking bubble to not know that that's not a smart thing to goddamn say. Your publicist was like, I'm gonna go to the washroom for a second, and then everything comes out. It's like everything.
What could possibly go wrong?
I just got to go pee for 2 seconds. What is he going to say? He's just, I remember the time I tried to kill a black bastard. Then she's walking in the room. And, hey, anyway, so I was wandering around with a stick, ready to hit the first black. It's like, what's going on?
What the fuck? Wait, what? I need to update my resume. Fuck this. I quit. Hey, I was going to make this example. So pre-Mecca Malcolm X, right? Has this speech where he talks about where he compares white people who brutalize black neighborhoods to snakes, and he said something along the line of, "Hey, when a snake bites you, you don't wait to find the actual snake that bit you to get your revenge. Nah, any snake will do." You know what I mean? And then I was about to relate it to Liam Neeson, but the difference is. When Malcolm X made that speech, he wasn't talking about all white people. He was talking about white people who come and brutalize a black neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Now, if Liam Neeson would have said, hey, I was looking for, I went to a neighborhood and all I could do was look for a rapist, or, maybe there's a club where black rapists hang out, or just rapists hang out, right? In a black
Costco. Yeah, as at Costco, the Black Rapist Club. I went to the Costco Black Rapist Club where they hang out.
I would have gotten it. You know what I mean? I'm like, shit. Shit.
Well, also,
Rapists
like,
have no
you got,
nationalities.
and look what Hollywood did with the Malcolm X, right? Like, he couldn't win a fucking Oscar.
Malcolm X hasn't won an Oscar.
Well, for the X, for Denzel Washington's X. That didn't win
I've
shit.
never liked the Oscars, man.
Denzel won for Training Day, not X.
Oh, of course.
Yep.
Of course.
Yeah, that still burns me to this day. That X didn't win.
I did tell you I'm not a fan of award shows, right?
Yeah, it's fucking. But that's Hollywood, right? So Liam will be fine.
Liam will be fine, for sure. Yeah,
he'll be fine.
Actually, his movie premiered and it did well. Hold on a second. Liam Neeson's movie,
Killing Black Bastards. Where's the black
we need to have a
bastard?
competition. Who could do like I'm gonna practice. Who could do you movie?
Yeah, but you know the thing is, right? If you watch any of those like Charles Bronson movies and shit, like in the 80s, what Liam Neeson's doing now with his action movies, and what Liam Neeson said, in the 80s, you could combine the two, right? Like the 80s, those like Charles Bronson Death Wish movies were all about like terrorizing inner city youth people. It's all like black and brown people. He's just beating the fuck out of in the inner city because of white flight. That's like even horror movies back then. Halloween was about white flight and fear of the other in suburbia. Mm-hmm. So they used to make these movies like Death Wish, where it's like white people could sit back in suburbia and go, oh my God, it's so dangerous in the downtown and the inner city. Yeah. So thank God for Charles Bronson that Ukrainian God is down there just beating the fuck out of these black and Hispanic people. And so like Liam Neeson's just doing a version of that kind of movie with like white people. Yeah. Now it's Russians. Yeah. Now they're like Russians.
Yeah.
But like, but what
remember Mark for Death? That's got to be my favorite one.
Yeah.
Mark for Death?
Yeah.
And the Jamaicans?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Yes, remember that?
I feel so...
It's just like fucking...
Screwface!
Yeah, like all... And those movies slowly change. So, I mean, if Liam Neeson was in the 80s and he said that, people were like, oh, that's a movie. Oh, yeah. That's a goddamn movie.
So... I'm not mad at this, but check this out.
Yeah.
So Liam Neeson's latest film takes $10 million on its opening weekend, despite admitting he once wanted to kill a black man. I mean, of course.
I'm sorry. That's laughter of tears. that's like despite wanting to kill a black man. It's just like it shows you how fucking little we mean. It's just like it still made $10 million, and he said he wanted to kill a black man.
Regardless of whether he was innocent or not, he wanted to kill a black man.
I wonder what kind of movie George Zimmerman can make.
Wow.
George Zimmerman, fucking, I would say a $30 million movie. If Liam Neeson can make 10, George is making 30.
If I was rich, I'd invest.
That's
just
so
to prove
sad.
A point.
It was basically publicity. He said he wanted to kill a black man, and the movie got tons of publicity. Oh my God, we're. That's what was like that. What was that thing that you posted on MRD? It was the Gucci, that sweater thing. These motherfuckers are doing this on purpose now.
Jesus Christ.
They're doing it on purpose. They know that we're not the market to buy to, but the controversy they're using for advertisement. And they go, oh, sorry, and then they take it down. They don't give a fuck about us, but they want to use our struggle to sell their bullshit.
Oh, fuck yeah. Yo, shout out to one of my white friends who, when I explained the sweater, he didn't get it. He thought it was a turtleneck and the red part was around the neck.
Yeah.
And then he goes, okay. If you think it's racist, I'm gonna check out the story. Like, he didn't argue with me. So I'm gonna check out the story and then get back to you.
Yeah.
Then he sees it. He goes, dude, you didn't tell me it was around the lips. What the fuck?
That shit.
They made that shit specifically for these alt-right types. We'll be like, all right,
nah, man, they didn't even make it for alt-right. They made it for alt-light. If anything, they weren't planning on selling that shit.
Beautiful.
They weren't going to sell it. All these companies make that stuff to get that controversy. Because look, this man just made $10 million saying he's going to kill a black person. These people do this shit to get the advertising dollar. It's easy advertising. It's easy. It's create the controversy, and then like, oh, sorry, we made a mistake, and you just flip it out, and then your name's out there. Your name gets so much press. They're co-opting. They're co-opting shit, and it happens on both sides. Gillette does it, and then they're doing it the other side. It's
Watch it just becomes a tradition. Every Black History Month, okay, it's time to piss black people off.
Dude,
so
it's going. It works. They're going to do it. Like this Liam Neeson thing. They're going to do it. It works. Because regardless of the anger that everyone has, it gets press.
It gets press. Yeah, go capitalism.
Right. It's exactly. Fuck. All right, let's wrap it up. This is the end of our Oscar episode. This is our Oscars. Hope you enjoyed it last night. We didn't watch it.